say the gunman had announced a robbery. Laura tells us little cash was kept in the store.
We knew our customers. Our customers didn't use cash a lot. Our customers used credit card, wrote a check, 2 registers in the store, $200 in each register.
That's it.
That's it.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Steph if you're new here, and as always, we thank you guys for tuning in. Today's raw story takes us to Tinley Park, Illinois, where a suburban Lane Bryant would turn into a nightmare for many individuals in a community. There are many stories that echo, but there also are stories that haunt us, and this is that one. For nearly 18 years, this story and case has not been solved, and it has shook a community to its core and been brought back into the spotlight. Now, if you never heard of Lane Bryant, it's a store that many women would go to for undergarments. I'm sure you probably heard your granny, your aunties talking about going to Lane Bryant because this was a store that just catered to many women. It made women feel inclusive. Now, on February 2nd, 2008, this suburban Lane Bryant would turn into a nightmare for a community and for many families. Inside the Brookside Marketplace, 6 women would be forced in the back with their hands tied behind their back. 5 women were shot execution style, but 1 woman survived. The bullet actually grazed her, and she was able to survive this horrific attack on February 2nd, 2008. The 5 women that were executed that day are as follows. I'm going to read their names, y'all, because I want to make sure I'm saying them correctly. Jennifer L. Bishop, she was 34. Carrie Chiuso, she was 33. Rhoda McFarland, she was 42. She was also the store manager. Sarah Szafranski, she was 22. And Connie Woolfolk, 37. 5 lives forever changed, forever gone, all because of a nasty predator. Now, the one individual that survived, I do not know her name. I have not been able to find that, but I'm very grateful that she was able to survive this horrific attack. Now, during the attack, the store manager, Rhonda, actually was able to call 911, but it would take about 40 minutes for law enforcement to get there. So this suspect was able to do horrific things in 40 minutes and escape.
It's a final plea from one of 5 victims shot in a mass murder at this suburban Chicago Lane Bryant store early in February. Illinois police have released part of a 911 call from that day. The call gives a chilling insight into the final moments before a gunman fatally shot the store's manager. She was able to call 911 on her cell phone before the gunman discovered her.
911 emergency. Where at? Stay on the line. Stay on the line. Let me get you to Tinley Park. Don't hang up.
Then the phone went dead.
Now, authorities have been investigating the case, like I said, for nearly 18 years, and they were able to put out a description of the man that came into the Lane Bryant store that Saturday morning. Now, law enforcement don't know why this man chose the Lane Bryant on a Saturday morning, but he did. Now, the man was described as being medium built. He was about 6 feet, 6'2". He had broad shoulders. Now, he did have cornrows in his hair and was described as a black man. At the time of the shooting, it had been reported that he was about 25 to 35 years old. Now, he was described as wearing black jeans with an embroidery on the back of the jeans, a black jacket, and he had been described to have cornrows. Now, with the cornrows, it also was described that he had kind of like a braid coming down with beads as well. Now, police have said, like I said, they have been investigating this case for nearly 18 years. Many tips have come through, but there has not been anything that has cracked the case open. Now, there also was a $100K reward for the arrest of the individuals who attacked these 6 women at the Lane Bryant, but they have not been able to find this person. Now, as I begin to research, there has been a lot of scrutiny around the police department because they feel like within 40 minutes, they should have been able to find something, DNA, fingerprints that would tie them to the person who had murdered the 5 women and attacked the other woman that survived. I do believe there is a documentary coming out this month. And I will, of course, add clips in the video so you guys can see far as the filmmaker that has created. And he has really been very vocal about this case, as well as some of the victims' families. They believe that this case should have been solved many years ago.
First of all, when have you ever heard of an unsolved mass shooting before? This is a tough one. This is by far the most confusing mass shooting I've researched. I've done a lot of mass shooting documentaries. This whole thing doesn't make sense. Why would you rob a Lane Bryant on a Saturday morning when there's not much cash in there? So many questions surround this thing. Was this an inside job? Was one of the victims targeted? There's never been a single arrest made on this tragedy. And Tinley Park PD, if you ask me, has not done the job. The results are not there. This case is unsolved. I think we need a whole new set of eyes on this thing.
Okay. And it does make you wonder what happened. Did law enforcement not have the tools to collect the DNA? Because as I listen, which some reports don't say sexual assault, I'm not 100%, but some say that some of the women or one of the women were sexually assaulted. So was there any DNA left behind? Was it collected? We don't know. But what we do know is there is a man out there that has committed this crime. And I wonder if genealogy could actually crack this case open. Because if you have not been paying attention, genealogy has been cracking these things wide open. This person has had to have lived a life, right? And I'm more than sure they probably have been a predator for many other women, because as I don't know what it is to be a predator, right? To target women, but that's where my mental space takes me. This man sought out a Lane Bryant store because he knew that only women shopped in that store. That is why he targeted the store, because he was also a predator. I'm very sure this man has committed multiple crimes. Trust me. And it does give me hope, because if we think about the yogurt shop murders, that was solved 30 years after the crime. I have faith that this case will open up. I believe wholeheartedly that genealogy can crack this open, especially if they collected any type of DNA. And someone knows something. I'm just not trying to hear that. You did not hear someone brag about shooting 5 women, well, 6 women, right? And I know that they had to be nervous that one of the women survived. I know they had to be. But again, I've never heard of this case. I was about to be graduating high school around this time that this situation occurred. So it's always so baffling when you think about cases and the timeline. It's just horrific. But I do hope that this case gets solved and that answers are answered. Because what are we doing? What are we doing here? But that's today's episode, guys. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think law enforcement should do? I hope that the documentary that will be coming out sparks even more, views, because like I said, I never heard of this case. And I hope that something happens so these families can get justice. I'm remembering the victims, and I hope that the individual that did survive is living life. And I know that you probably want this so bad for the individual to be caught. As always, I'm sending love and light, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.